Feature if I keep this on, but
Coach, you just have our radio team right now. They're going to ask their first questions, and then we'll let everybody else in.
all right.
Hey, Coach, it's Neil and Matt up in the broadcast booth. Congratulations on that win. Let's start with KJ Costello. I know he had some interceptions today, but overall, 600 and some odd yards passing. How would you rate what he did today?
I thought it was a really good debut. I mean, some of his turnovers were his fault and some weren't. But I think that it's a good start. I think that, we got to take care of the ball better, no question about that. But the biggest strength that I really saw out of him was he's the same guy every play. I mean, he would have the disappointment and something would happen, and he'd come back, same guy, ready to go, ready to pick the units up. And he went through a stretch there, was, as bad as I've seen quarterbacks go through, and he hung in there and kept everybody inspired, and then we got that key drive at the end.
Got a lot of young guys playing, but they made some big plays for you at times today that helped you get the ball back. I know that that's a work in progress, but how would you evaluate what they did in game one today?
Thought they did good. I thought we had a bunch of young guys play. The thing that I was pleased with is we played together as a team. We didn't play perfect. We weren't necessarily consistent, but we did play together, kept pushing one another, and never emotionally backed off our focus to go out there and play.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone, we will open this back up to the rest of the media. Again, if you'll leave your mics muted until I call on you. If you put your name in the chat, I will go ahead and go down the order. We're going to go ahead and start off with Steve. Steve, you're muted.
Am I good now?
Look good.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, Coach. What was it that made you guys realize you could throw the ball so consistently outside the numbers against their corners?
Well, trial and error, I guess, would be the best way to describe that. Going into the game, I guess we thought they'd play looser than they did, because they've got kind of a lot of four across in their arsenal. We thought they'd play looser.
This meeting is being recorded.
It turned out that they didn't play so loose, and then the space was getting crowded more and more, so we felt like we ought to go over the top, and KJ threw some good balls, and we made some really good catches too.
Ben.
Mike, I know KJ made a few mistakes, but in terms of his day and the numbers that he put up, where does that rank in terms of quarterbacks you've seen in this system, and how would you sort of describe his performance today?
Well, it's really high when you consider, playing at LSU versus the defending national champions, so it's really high that way. I thought his composure this game was outstanding. Our team, I felt like offensively and defensively had each other's backs and special teams. Because, we had our share of adversity and just slugged through it, but everybody was in there and stuck with one another, and so I thought that was maybe one of the strongest things on our part as a team. We just kept playing and kept supporting each other.
With the turnovers, how did KJ kind of take to that on the sideline, whether it was the fumble or the interception?
As good as anybody I've ever dealt with, to be honest with you. Because he just came out swinging and was composed and didn't force things. And then, it wasn't perfect. Of course, these guys are a little challenging. These guys they're playing with at LSU, they get invited to play everywhere,
Next we'll go to David.
Coach, KJ was doing a good job spreading the ball around, but what made him so effective on third downs?
I'll tell you, our receivers were part of that too. There was a point in that game where I felt like if it was third and long the entire time, we would have scored even more points. It seemed like our most effective down was third and long. Forget first and second. Let's just get to third and long. But So it was kind of a strange feeling out there. Of course, they're really strong, really physical, and as much as we got stuff sometimes on first and second down, we were pretty explosive on third and long, and I think that kept us in it, and I think it was really key to winning this game.
Derek?
Coach, this is Derek from Back Dog Sports Podcast.
How you doing?
Doing all right, Coach. The first question I want to ask you is talk about utilizing Colin Hill in the passing game and just his performance today, especially with that long touchdown catch and run. And then how does it feel to get your first signature win in the SEC in your first game?
It feels good. I mean, it feels good. I mean, the biggest thing is coaches, players, everybody, administration, and then fans you hear from. You don't get to see them face to face so much right now, but I think everybody together is kind of the key on that. And then, a quality opponent like this, Kylan had a heck of a game. Just doing the math, and I was horrible at math. Let's see, 50. Carry the one. No, actually, it's 80. He had 193 yards. So, in a team like LSU, I think that's a pretty good performance.
Go to Tyler.
Yeah, kind of going off of what Derek just asked. You've only been here a few months, but Mississippi State, this is an LSU team that, these fans have been, longing to beat, especially in this stadium for years. It's only happened now 3 times in the last 30 years. What was the magnitude of the moment like for you guys? I saw you guys stayed on the field a little longer than usual. Just try to capture what the moment meant to you, and then what you saw on those people's faces as well.
Well, I think it was outstanding. I mean, this one went down to the wire, so I was pretty locked into the game down to the wire, and then they wanted me to go to the media right away, and so I did. And then in the meantime, of course, the players were all excited, and I don't know if maybe it's a ritual, and it is a lot of places, to go up to the fans or and that sort of thing, which I wasn't acquainted to all of it, so. After that, I kind of played it by ear, really. I just sort of followed along, and, if the other guy was doing something, I did it, pretty much, Hopefully he didn't get me in trouble, like my mom said. Somebody tells you to jump over a cliff, are you going to do it? Well, sometimes I did,
Steve, go ahead.
All right.
Steve, can't hear you.
Steve, you're muted.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. Coach, you guys did get the benefit of spring practice, and it took you a while to kind of get in the same room with your team. What does this do for your buy-in and for your team to come down here and get a big win like that?
I was kind of impressed that, like some stuff, I still hold to what I said before. We're explosive but inconsistent. And that's how we looked today, was explosive but inconsistent. But, explosive is some good news. And then I thought, we had one monumentally dumb penalty, but after that, we didn't really have too many penalties for a first game. New group of people together, hadn't worked together too much for a first game. I thought we were pretty disciplined that way. I thought with regard to communication, definitely struggled the first half. I thought we tightened that up the second half. I think definitely made some progress. I think I would say, as far as the little things that are often revealed in first games, which there's plenty, we have all kinds of film that'll prove to us that we have a lot of work to do. But I do think we were ahead of schedule on some of the execution and yes, we played sloppy, but we didn't play as sloppy as first games you sometimes do.
Garrett Hodge.
Mike, defensively, 7 sacks. Were you expecting to create that disruptive of a pass rush coming into this game?
I thought we might. I don't know about 7. I didn't have a number in my head. Our defensive line does a good job of that, and Mississippi State's had good defensive linemen over time. And then also what Zach does is kind of a pressure scheme. That's that pressure stuff. And Mississippi State broke in a huge portion of that with Joe Lee Dunn. So some of that stuff, sometimes old ways are best,
We'll go back to Derek.
Okay, Coach. Since we're now on the defense, talk about Sean Preston's performance. He led you in tackles with 10. Also, Aaron Boulet's performance and Errol Thompson's performance.
Really, Errol's just a real solid kind of cornerstone of the defense in general. Then, those other guys, I thought they were explosive. They relentlessly ran to the ball. They just explosive and kept playing hard. And it was hot out there. People were getting tired, but I felt like, I thought we were in pretty good shape, and I thought we fought through it because, the first 2.5, 3 quarters, it was real hot out there. I had this thing on mainly because I wanted to look like a reverend or a priest, especially since I have this here right in the middle of the collar. So I was shooting for that a little bit, but then this is kind of thin, but I'm a lot sweaty under this than you might think. And so it's a good thing we have social distancing on the plane, so it'll probably mitigate some of the complaints. But no, it's hot out there.
All right, we've got time for one last question. We'll go to Joel.
Hey, Coach. Coming into this game, a lot of the discussion over the last few months has been whether or not the air raid could work in the SEC. Been many articles, many discussions had about that. And I know it's just one game, but it certainly looks like the answer to that question after one game is yes. Has there ever, at any point over the last few months, did you have any question? Did you have any doubt? Did you have anything rattling around in your own mind about whether or not this offense could work?
Well, I thought it would work. My first exposure to Division I was at University of Kentucky, and it worked then, and I didn't figure much had changed with regard to that because the SEC's always had quality football for a long time. And then you see it really taking off in the NFL. And it doesn't just have to be an air raid offense. I mean, there's a lot of offenses, that if people are just kind of really committed to the philosophy and you attack the field and you execute, are good offenses. I think, the biggest thing, I don't think it's some special, secret plays as much as, you constantly work every day, to execute what you do. And at some point you got to make choices what you're going to do. Otherwise, you're doing everything and you'll lose track of it. And we lost track of plenty of it today as it was. But now just try to execute the best you can. And at this stage, all the young guys and not having spring, I was proud of the way we executed, even though there was definitely some sloppiness out there.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Coach.